With so much software available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 15 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Techsplained with the Guest Inspector. Scaling seems to be the buzzword these days, and if you've never hired someone, where do you start and how do you find the best person for the job? And even if you have hired staff, how do you have the time to wade through the websites, the resumes and the interviews just to find the right one? In other industries, we've heard of agencies that can provide the right staff when you need it. Well, now the vacation rental industry has an agency too. Today, I'm chatting with Gerard from Extenteam, who will explain exactly how they can help with staff. Hello, Gerard. How are you?
Hello, good morning. Well, good morning for me.
Good afternoon from me. Thank you very much for coming along and joining me today. We're going to launch straight into it. In one sentence, can you tell me, what does Extenteam do?
You bet. Extenteam is the most trusted staffing outsourcing partner for vacation rental managers and vendors. So Extenteam is a short-term rental industry leader for dedicated outsourced staffing. So we're very different from the traditional model of a call center. That's really not what we do. Our team members work exclusively for the companies that we work with. They handle tasks ranging from guest services, reservations, digital marketing, social media management, even accounting, other functions that can be performed remotely. So it's not a matter of what we can do when people come to us. We really work with a company and say, what are your unique needs? What are the hours that needs to be covered? And then we hire those team members for you.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question.
Oh,
as a property manager, I'm coming to you. What is the process? What are the things you ask me? What do I need to share with you? And then how does it work?
You bet. So it moves pretty quickly too. And so somebody comes to us and they say, look, I need help with this. This is the task. These are the tasks that I need. And we can say, that looks a lot like a reservation sales agent. That looks a lot like this that we've already filled before. So we're very familiar with it. At the same time, we really want to hone in on the specific needs that a property manager has. They share that with us. We take those notes and we take that to our recruitment team. And that team sources those people, does the interviewing, collects the resumes, some of which we already have. So we have, we're able to develop a good bench. And so we have people on the ready who we think will be a very good fit. We work with motivated, college-educated people. This is not a call center as those things are normally seen in the industry. And so these are outsourced people. That's a truly international team, mostly in the Philippines at this time. But we're expanding into Latin America as well as Europe.
So once you've got that staff member, or you're proposing that staff member, obviously then I'd have to approve. Am I involved in the interview as well, or the last interview? And then how does the onboarding or the training go? Obviously, I would have to spend time training this member of staff.
Absolutely. And so there's an onboarding process. We really bring candidates to the teams that we work with. And so they're ready to go. There's not a lot of involvement on that side. However, there needs to be a match. And so that's what the onboarding process takes care of, where our customer success team, they really lead that charge. They start working with the partner. By partner, we really mean our clients, our client partners. And they start working with that team member, and they start the training. And so we do have some training that we've done for the vacation rental space. Most of the people who come onto our teams have worked in hospitality. They know the space pretty well, but the short-term rental business is a little different than working for a 5-star hotel. So we've actually developed some training modules with Doug Kennedy. Let me do a plug for Doug Kennedy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know his work.
Doug. Yeah.
Doug's done some great work of, developing an Extenteam university for our team members. So they have a very good primer and they understand the industry. And then they start working and training with the partner. We want the partners to be able to train and shape the role for that team member. And so they're very involved in that point.
Oh, fantastic. So what sort of roles do your staff offer? I mean, what are the roles that the staff that you have offer?
We work with a lot of reservation agents, and that's really where we started. But they can also do a lot of digital marketing, as well as other things that guest agents can do, set up maintenance issues. But we've really expanded those roles into even managed services such as bookkeeping, accounting, even tech dev. And this is really where we see the need. And again, our expertise is in that selection process, right? We recruit very specifically for the roles that we see a need for out there. So I would say it's not a matter of what our teams can't do. It's really a matter of what the needs are out there that we are able to work with our client partners, and then source and find them the right people.
So that bookkeeping role, that's really quite specific, because in the US, with all the different taxes and things, that would be actually quite specific. And I also saw on your website that you even do IT staff.
Yeah, and that's fairly new. That's really what we're looking to develop, especially in Latin America and even Eastern Europe. There's a lot of talent there. And so how do we find the talent? How do we recruit that talent? It's important too to create these teams. What workers want out there. And we really started this service. It really took off with the Great Resignation. There was a terrific need out there for outsourced staffing. People want to work remotely. And now our team members work remotely just like you and I do, but they're well connected. We make sure the technology is very strong. And, we're working on backup just in case power goes out, or in case, there's just challenges with the technology. When I started with Extenteam, I've been there, probably 3 months now. It was really an interesting group to me, because I looked at it and I've been in the vacation rental world for about 8 years now. I thought, that 5 years ago, I don't think this would have been possible. I just don't think technology was to the point where you can really rely on these kinds of teams who are working internationally, 24 hours a day, in many different time zones. And it also wasn't accepted. I think there was in our world, in the vacation rental world, there was an idea that somebody needs to be at the front desk.
Yeah.
And guests, also the idea that guests need to check in at a front desk before they go to their home. This has really changed, and it's been driven by the guest behavior and the guest expectations. They don't necessarily want to stop in at a guest-facing desk. They want to go straight to where they're staying and be let in. But also to have the support that they need. That support doesn't need to be from a specific office. That support needs to be through technology.
Yes, that's right. So what's the next step? Once you find that member of staff, as the property manager, do they become my member of staff? Do I pay them? Because my understanding is I pay you as the agency.
No, good, very good question. Absolutely. So this is a service that we provide. And this is, I think, one of the great benefits. And so it's recruitment, remittance, and retention. And these are the three skill areas that we have as an organization that we've really developed our technology around. And so the remittance is our responsibility. We pay our staff, our team members who work remotely. And so also we just take care of all those details. And I think that's a huge economic benefit to the partners that we work with, but also just a huge time saver. It's quite taxing for a company, especially a small manager who wants to scale, who wants to grow, and who wants to be economical, for them to do all of that work, to go through the resumes, to really recruit the right people, to make sure they get paid, but also to make sure they're rewarded. It's important for us that our team members have a shared common goal with the partners that they work with, that they feel like they're part of the team, that they're doing great work, and then that they're rewarded. And so that we make sure that we pay them a fair wage. We want our staff to have medical insurance, to even have mental health benefits, and also paid time off. And so this is the way that we do a great job of that recruitment, remittance, and retention.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm a property manager and I'm using your service to get staff, are you a tax deduction?
That's again, whenever I ask that question, that kind of question to my professional services, they say, I'm not a tax accountant. So it really matters. It really matters what your tax accountant will tell you.
Okay.
I can't give that information about the way that you run that part of your business, but I can provide a service that bills you accordingly.
Yes. So that's why I'm thinking, is this a loophole? Am I not thinking correctly? But it sounds like a tax deductible service. But consult your tax accountants.
Yes, absolutely consult your tax accountant. The way I would position it as a very economical service when it comes to hiring a staff.
Yes.
Again, the team members that we bring in are an extension of the team. They are a member of your team, and we are our customer success side. Make sure that they're doing great, that they're comfortable. So that customer success side works both sides of the equation. They're working with our client partner and making sure that Extenteam team member is doing a great job, and they're doing everything that they need to do. And we also want to make sure that team member is having a great experience as well.
So, and also just in terms of scaling, this could be how to scale your business, or this could be a stepping stone to scaling your business. If you do want feet on the ground, you could use your service to start the expansion. And once proven or established, then you can bring on people on the ground. So you could use it permanently or just as a temporary stop measure. So that's great.
I would add to that we work with partners, so we can start just with one team member, and that's how most of our client partners work. They say, you know what, I'll give this a try. This looks great to me. Let's see how it's proven. A lot of those companies start with one team member, and then they'll say, can I have some more of that? And so they actually will work up to multiple team members. And some of those team members will actually become team leads and manage the others. And so that's the way that I've seen it work. Again, it really has to do with if you're a property manager, what can you find locally? What talent can you find locally that is both economical and reliable and what you're looking for, but also what can be done remotely? What do you see in your operation that can be done remotely? Obviously, we can't do cleaning remotely, right? So that's a really challenging part of the business. I think we're solving one of the big problems. And when I started in the vacation rental space, I saw the huge need for housekeeping and what an important function it is. I think right alongside of that is guest services. And so it's about, how do we treat our guests? How are the facilities when our guests arrive? That's really the housekeeping function. But then again, how are our guests treated and supported along the way? That's the guest services side. And that's where we've really started. Yeah.
That's great. Now, I think you also, even on your website, you mentioned about all the pains that you're taking away from the property manager in terms of sifting through all the resumes. If you get any in the first place, there's no payroll issues and the employer taxes and things to deal with like that. So it sounds like it's a very streamlined way of getting some more staff on your team.
I would say so. Yeah, it's much faster that way. And so that's usually the question of, how fast can I get somebody? Right? How quickly can I make this happen? And really, we try to get somebody, recruit and hire somebody and get somebody in place 10 days to 2 weeks really is what we really want to see. And that's our target. And so we see that creeping down as we get better at what we're doing. Now, we're a scaling company too, right? Just like the companies we work with who are scaling, so are we. And so we are in the same position as they are as we grow, and we want to grow with those companies. I would say we work, it's important, I guess, for me to accentuate, we work best with companies who have some structure in place. You've seen this industry and it's great where somebody starts out and they say, I've got 3 properties. I've got 4 properties, 5 properties. I'm running by the seat of my pants trying to make this happen. And so it's really challenging to get up to that next step. And
Yeah.
so those are some of the problems we're working on. How do we work with those smaller companies? We're working on some technology around and looking for the right partners to create structures that will be able to serve smaller managers as well. But I would say this, that we work best with companies that have something in place. Most of the companies we work with, the partners, have, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 units, but we also work up with companies up to thousands of units that are publicly traded.
Yeah, and that's one of my usual questions, actually. What sort of size property management company are you targeting with this sort of service? So it is the sort of 50 plus, or the more the better, obviously, the growing business.
Yeah, well, that's fair, but I think characterize it too, and to say that they're companies that already have some structure. There are smaller companies that have structure as well, a structure and longevity. You know how this industry works as far as units go. It depends on the unit. Some units are giant. They're really small hotels that are masquerading as homes, and so those companies serve a lot of guests and they pump a lot of revenue through them as well. And so it's not necessarily the number of units, it's really the structure of the company.
Yeah. Now,
and what their needs are.
Yeah. I haven't heard of a personnel agency in the vacation rental industry before. So I am going to ask, what is your unique selling point besides you probably being a unique business?
Well, I would say this: there is, Steve Trover's group, Better Talent, and they are a friend of ours in the industry.
Okay.
We work really closely. That's okay. We work really closely together with Steve because it's kind of a different beast. Steve's not really focused as much on the guest services equation, I guess, in the business. He's really terrific at guiding those professional roles and people who've been in the industry for a long time. We serve a particular function, and I think we realized really early on that the team members we bring to our client partners, they become an extension of the team, thus the name Extenteam. It's a big difference between what we offer in a call center. So that's really a unique selling point for us. Yeah. But I think even more so, our team comes from the vacation rental space. So we know the challenges these businesses are. And a lot of us come from property management, vacation rental property management. So we know exactly what these small operators, small and larger operators, are dealing with and what their challenges are. That's, I think, a really unique selling point in this industry, is that we understand it. We feel those pains that the managers are going through. And again, we've developed a service that solves a lot of those problems.
Now, in our chattings earlier on last time, we did talk about the fact that staff are actually hired on a full-time basis. They are supposed to work a 40-hour week. So you're not offering something where you've got a part-time staff yet. Is that right?
That's right. So these are things that we're working on as we scale, and what exactly are the offerings that we want to put out there. What we found that works best is bringing somebody in on a full-time basis, and that's because it's so economical for the client partners that we work with. What we want to see is them to develop other tasks that team member can do. Now, what we want to see is, how do we develop that team member within that client partner's team, and what are they able to take on? But again, they're going to have to be rewarded for that. And so they're going to have, we develop bonuses for our team members, but we're also going to talk about creating a raise for that individual. And so that's what we work with our client partners. Again, we make this very economical. It starts at about $12 an hour for as a service to the property managers. So it's extremely economical to them. And at the same time, we're providing our team member with a great living wage.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask.
Did that answer that question, Deborah? Is that
yes,
okay?
Yes, you did. Absolutely. I was going to ask about the cost. So in terms of the cost, I would imagine it might depend on the role, or is it a flat rate, $12 for everyone to start. And then is there a contract? Once you've gone through, you get them on board and you've trained them, is there a contract to keep that staff member on board? What happens if it doesn't work out?
Good questions. So it basically starts at about $12 an hour, but that's really for a reservation sales agent, or it's just a reservation individual. And it does go up from there for the more complex or management roles, but also the managed services that I discussed earlier that can go into bookkeeping and accounting, tech dev. Obviously, they're going to be a higher price point, but still super economical. Now, we do have a month-to-month agreement with the client partners we work with, and they can shift to an annual agreement whenever they're ready, whenever they want to, and they're going to see some economic discounts from that.
Yeah.
What if it doesn't work out? So, right, what if there's just not a match between the manager and the team member that we bring in? Look, that absolutely has happened in the past, and it does happen occasionally. We're dealing with human beings here. And so we have a dedication to our client partners, but to our team members as well. And so we're going to make sure that there's going to be a match. If there's not, we will replace that individual for that client partner. And one of the things that we want to get into and that we're starting to do is to predict, maybe develop the predictive index. So we understand the styles, the working styles of our client partners, and then we can match that with the team members that we're bringing in.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. That's great. Well, I've come to the end of my questions. Is there something else that we didn't cover?
Well, let's see. I think I did talk a little bit about tech that we're developing. So we want to find ways to work with property managers that want to grow, or that are really looking for specialized services that we can fulfill. So we are growing as a company, and we're looking at tech partners that we can bring in so that we can develop something that may serve property managers who aren't to the scale yet where they need a full-time employee.
Well, if you have any questions for Gerard or the Extenteam, you can pop them in the comment box below. I must add, that's in the YouTube in the video. Otherwise, I will put all the links in the description for this interview. And thank you so much for your time, Gerard. It's been very interesting to hear about Extenteam.
My pleasure, Deborah. I love your show, and I'm looking forward to more. Let us know what we can do for you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, bye now.